What is going on, freedom fighters? Welcome back to another Break the Chains Media here on... Wait, hold on. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Break the Chains Media. Today is Wednesday, January 21st, 2026, and we are getting into it here on We Are Change Wednesday, World Economic Forum Wednesday. We're going to be crushing it. We're going to be calling them out. We're going to be holding these globalists and these scumbags accountable. That's what we're doing here on Break the Chains Media, and a lot to go over. And some explosive conversations that Donald Trump dropped, and wannabe Top Gun Maverick Macron over here with his aviators saying some other dumb shit, talking to making him trying to look out. He's trying to look like Biden with those aviators. You know what I mean? He's trying to look cool. He's trying to look suave. Who wears sunglasses when they're doing a podium presentation in an arena, in an auditorium? It's ridiculous. The whole look is a whole joke from Macron. But I really wanted to focus on the conversations that Donald Trump brought up regarding election rigging and election interference. He basically told the World Economic Forum, told the globalists that election fraud is real. It has happened. The 2020 election was stolen, reaffirming so many of us conspiracy theorists that the election was unfounded, right? There's no rampant election fraud. Well, folks, we have some bombshells to break down. We've got some conversations to tie into regarding Maduro, regarding some things that his lawyers might have uncovered. So we're going to talk about that. We are also going to discuss another tragic ice shooting. Luckily, from what it appears, that no one was harmed, no one was injured. I'm sorry, no one was shot. But the ICE officer was injured. It happened in California, suburb LA. I think it was in like Compton, somewhere out like that. So we're going to look into that. That is the breaking news of the day. And then in the Rumble Premium, in the exclusive section on the later half, the back end of this live stream, we are going to be doing a deep dive into some of these World Economic Forum conversations. These open panel discussions, these the globalists sit down and they diatribe and they conversate about AI and economies and healthcare and how do we move in this world. And this is the whole World Economic Forum agenda, right? These open discussions above politics, above government, above the people, above the citizens of the world. These elites take over a whole entire town in Switzerland, and they have these conversations just completely disregarding anything to do with the population. They just say, how are we going to shape the world? Because it's up to us, right? So we're going to do that on the uncensored portion, on the Break the Chains exclusive premium part of this live stream. But folks, if this is the first time joining Break the Chains Media, I appreciate you bringing here. Thank you for hanging out. Smash that thumbs up button. Follow this channel for more information. Follow this channel because we do all things politics, all things culture, but we do try to bring it home. We do try to relate it to Colorado issues, Colorado conversations. So if you are in the Centennial State, the Mile High City of Denver, hit that follow button or let someone else know that is in the area to be a part of this channel, because it is going to be a wild and crazy year here on Break the Chains Media. You can actually, if you wanted to follow any of the other options, whether it's YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, you can find it all here at the landing page, breakthechains.media. That is the landing page. You have the social medias here. You can click on up to the top right corner. Support the channel by picking up a bottle of Realm Walker hot sauce. Travel the 9 realms of Norse mythology through hot sauce. From mild to extreme heat, travel the 9 realms. All of them are themed and labeled according to the Norse mythology of the 9 realms. Travel the 9 realms. Become the Realm Walker by trying some of these excellent flavors of hot sauce. Homegrown peppers and hand-bottled, handmade by yours truly. Follow Realm Walker Hot Sauce on Instagram. Grab your bottle today. Reach out to Break the Chains Media on any platform to pick up a bottle and support the channel. Chainsaw Caucus. Rev up those chainsaws. Get them going. Rev them up. RPM's at the high. Chainsaw Caucus is a 527 nationally recognized PAC trying to cut through government bureaucracy, corruption, bloat, waste, fraud, and abuse. recognizing candidates and elected officials who will represent the people, who will stand up against the government bureaucracy that is where the fraud and corruption comes from. How much money are they laundering? How much money are they funneling into their NGOs and for-profit organizations and for-profit legislations? So with Chainsaw Caucus and your $10 a month donation, in the description below, there is a link. There is a pinned link down there. Be a part of Chainsaw Caucus for $10 a month. It helps out Chainsaw Caucus to find real, honest candidates inspired by the Javier Milei Afuera movement, and it helps out Break the Chains Media. They are a great affiliate here on Break the Chains Media. Without further ado, let's get into it, folks. Thank you all for being here. Give yourselves a round of applause. Appreciate you all jumping in the stream. Say hello in the live chat because I love having conversations about the live chat. Oh my gosh, somebody stop me. My hair. What is going on with the hair? I just look at this. This is absolutely incredible. This is the kind of stuff I do in the premium because sometimes I just kind of let it go, let it be wild. But I've got a massive, just extra fluffy wave going on today. So I guess we're just gonna roll with it. We're just gonna let it happen. I mean, holy cow! I need a haircut, folks. Let me know because this is just uncontrolled follicles. I'll tell you what, man, it is a struggle. Anyways, enough of me. Let's get into the news here, folks. This is gonna be interesting. We are going to see some fireworks this year. Hopefully, we actually make something of it. There's a lot of talk going on, but Donald Trump bringing the receipts to the World Economic Forum regarding election rigging. Okay, check this out, folks. Get a load of this. President Donald Trump drops the rigged 2020 election info bomb at the World Economic Forum 2026. Strong borders, free and fair elections, and honest news media. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did in the 2020 election. Trump is going into the globalist den of snakes and saying this is a huge step forward for justice and election integrity and honesty in our elections. Let's take a listen. Let's take a listen to what he actually had to say.
Thousands of miles away, separated by a giant ocean. It's a war that should have never started.
He's talking about
and
Greenland
it wouldn't
right
have
now,
started if the 2020 U.S. presidential election weren't rigged. It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election. Can't have rigged elections. You need strong borders, strong elections, and ideally a good press. I always say it. Strong borders, strong elections, free, fair elections, and a fair media. The media is terrible. It's very crooked. It's very biased, terrible. But someday it'll straighten out because it's losing all credibility. Think of it. When I went in a landslide, a giant landslide, won all 7 swing states, won the popular vote, won everything, and they only get negative press. That means that it has no credibility. And if they're going to get credibility, they're going to have to be fair. So you need a fair press. But you also need those other elements. And I inherited a terrible, terrible situation. If you look, the border was open. The inflation was raging. Everything was bad with the United States when I came into office. But I also inherited a mess with Ukraine and Russia, something that would have never happened. And I know Putin very well. He and I would discuss Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye, but he wasn't going to do anything. I said, Vladimir, you're not doing it. He would never have done it. It was terrible what happened. I could see it happening, too. After I left, I could see it happening. Biden had given Ukraine and...
Yeah, absolutely outstanding. Trump just riffs on it, and it's sometimes you just love just hearing him riff and just hearing him open discussion and his own just string of consciousness thoughts, right? But he went from Greenland to talk about the election, to talk about media, to talk about Ukraine, to talk about Russia, all these things all at once. You got a nice chunk of a slice of his larger speech, and I do want to hear his larger speech, and we might do that in the uncensored portion of this live stream. But the fact of the matter is this: Donald Trump went into the World Economic Forum, the globalist den of scum and villainy, to basically say, you know what, the election, it was stolen, it was rigged, we have the evidence, it's unavoidable now, and we are here to basically say, I won, and I have all the evidence, I have all the facts, I have all the information. I've got Maduro now. Maduro's going to be squealing like a pig, squealing like a little pig, he says. Little piggy Maduro. But see, folks, this is the thing that people fail to understand when we have a conversation about honest elections and election integrity. People say, oh, we free and fair, the gold standard of elections. We have the gold standard of elections here in Colorado. And all of these other states, whether they have mail-in ballots or no voter ID requirements, all of these things. America is one of the only states that allows this lax scale of election voter information, right? So what Trump is, he's I don't want to say he's begging the question, but he's basically priming the world's palate to a larger bombshell of information or bombshell action that's going to be taking place here. And maybe this, put on your tinfoil hats, but this might just be a theory I'm just cooking up right now. I'm just riffing, folks. I don't want to be, I'm not trying to defend Pam Bondi's inaction right now. I'm not trying to defend her media on Fox News and her talking a big game and doing a whole lot of nothing for the last year. But maybe, just maybe, there might be some credibility if we actually get a Loctite sealed case, a 100% infallible argument against those responsible of the election interference. I'm talking about George Soros. I'm talking about the funding through open societies. I'm talking about him networking with secretaries of state across the country. I'm talking about Dominion voting machines with Smartmatic working with Venezuela. I'm talking about a large network of a multi-year process, a multi-election cycle process of election rigging and election thieving. And this is what they've been doing for a very long time. And the 2020 election is paramount and pivotal to this narrative, to this conversation. Because you can't tell me that the walking husk of a human, Joe Biden, won 81 million votes. And yeah, we can have the conversation about it was a novel election year because we had the coronavirus, we had national mail-in ballots, so a lot more people might have shown up to vote. But this was a perfect breeding ground for election corruption and election interference, whether it be, excuse me, whether it be through dirty voter rolls or mail-in ballots, duplicate ballots, late entries of voters, various states manipulating and twisting their election results in the 2020 election. We have seen so many different instances of election interference, whether it be in Georgia, whether it be in Pennsylvania, whether it be in Wisconsin, Michigan. Colorado's been doing election interference for a very long time, in my opinion. So they've gotten very good at hiding their tactics and hiding their strategy, using these electronic voting machines, using the software systems that Tina Peters had a pivotal role to play in exposing how the trusted build manipulates Colorado elections in red counties, particularly. So with all of this information mounting, and with Donald Trump going to the World Economic Forum and basically telling them how it is, basically telling them that our United States presidential election was rigged in 2020, it goes to show you he is priming the palate. He is setting the stage. He's setting the table for a massive shift and a massive corruption expose of this network of election interference and election rigging. So let's hope that Pam Bondi actually is going to make some real actions when it comes to the interference of the 2020 election. We can only hope. But like I always say, I'm a half glass full realist. I am optimistic, but I also understand the realist angle of the world, and I don't want to be holding my breath, but I'm optimistic for the future. So let's see, let's hope something else comes out of this, and that ties in intimately with what I posted earlier. We have this from Denver Fail. Let's take a look really quick. From Denver Fail, this ties right into the overwhelming mounting evidence of election fraud. Trump allies reportedly wanted to use the NSA data to overturn the 2020 election, the memo shows. Little-known rumors started circulating in intelligence circles in 2022. Trump had full NSA analysis done of the American election systems before leaving office in 2020. He could not act on it. They blindsided him and he was beat. But we knew he kept it. And now his action speaks louder than words. It would be required by law for the president to direct the NSA to capture raw signals data to prove foreign election interference. Trump quietly did the deep dive. Follow along. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out because I do believe that this ties with Venezuela, Smartmatic, Dominion, Sequoia Systems, Soros-funded Secretary of States, and dirty voter rolls. All of this is connected. All this ties to the same conversation. Let's take a look at this right here. This is actually from, I believe it was yesterday, before Trump left for Davos. But this is Trump being asked a question regarding Maduro insecurity and regarding the Venezuela involvement in the 2020 elections. Let's take a listen here.
Spoke earlier, Mr. President. You've been hearing from allies.
Thank you. Thank you so much, President Trump. Kara Kastanova from Lindell TV. And you spoke earlier about the 2020 election. Now that Maduro is in U.S. custody and he was criminally charged, has any more information emerged that you could share with us regarding Venezuelan election software and Venezuelan ties to tampering with the 2020 election? And would you consider speaking to Maduro personally in prison in New York to get some answers on Venezuela's involvement with the 2020 election?
No, I don't think I would be doing that. I think my lawyers would be very unhappy if I did. Yeah, they've learned some things. Please.
Yeah, so he kind of left the question open that his lawyers have learned some things. What did Trump's lawyers learn through questioning Maduro in his captivity in New York? What is Maduro actually speaking to? What kind of conversations, what kind of information that Nicolas Maduro is going to be revealing coming into his court hearings? I believe his court hearings are set for March, first week of March, but we will keep a close eye on how Maduro responds and how Maduro opens up when it comes to Venezuela's involvement, Venezuela's entanglement in the 2020 election, whether it be through Smartmatic Systems and Dominion and Sequoia, or how the process in which Maduro rigged his own elections that could mirror into the conversation regarding the 2020 election here in America. So I do believe that Maduro has a very pivotal role to play in this expose of election interference here in America. But yes, that is very interesting. It's like it said, it's all coming in. It's all flowing very fluidly. It's all happening very quickly. But the fact that Donald Trump spoke this way at the World Economic Forum is very, very telling. I do think that they are targeting before we switch gears into what actually happened earlier today in California regarding ICE. But you let me know in the chat, folks. What do you guys think regarding this bombshell? Just stance, this position that Donald Trump just doubles and triples down on this 2020 election conversation at Davos, in the World Economic Forum, in this belly of the beast, so to speak. What are your thoughts? You let me know in the live chat. What do you guys think? Smash that thumbs up button. Share this with all your friends and family. Be a part of the Chain Breakers here on Break the Chains Media. Let's get after it. Let's go. All right. What do we got here? We got breaking news. Breaking news happened a few hours ago. And this is from Nick Sorter. Just in, people are being evacuated from the main venue at the World Economic Forum after a strange odor began causing people to cough. It is unclear what was in the air. President Trump needs to get back to the U.S. as soon as possible. Europe is unsafe. Nick Sorter is a great reporter, great journalist. However, this is a very charged post on X. It has a lot of whoa, what's going on? Scary. Like, is it a terrorist attack? Is it a threat to the nation? A threat to the world? And to be fair, like, I posted this. I said, who would have thought that a bunch of world leaders and globalists discussing and plotting the world agenda wouldn't be targeted at some point? Excuse me. I just get riled up. I get riled up and I get a little coffee hacky. But this is video on the ground at Davos, late night. I mean, like, obviously this is happened very late in the evening over there. But let's watch this video here. Firefighters coming in. You don't know exactly I don't know who's recording this, but firefighters are going in, and people are being evacuated. News and media are being evacuated from the World Economic Forum as of a few hours ago. But all you got to do is take a few minutes to do some research. Davos evacuated this is from the Daily Mail, folks. Davos event evacuated as unusual smell causes coughing after Trump's crunch talks with world leaders. World Economic Forum is evacuated after unusual odor caused coughing among attendees Wednesday evening. White House officials said the evacuation did not affect President Donald Trump, who spoke earlier in the day and left about an hour before the stench was discovered. So Donald Trump was not in the vicinity at the time of this unusual odor. The Davos Congressional Center main venue caused conference where Trump ripped into European leaders and announced the framework to a deal acquire Greenland was fully evacuated. Multiple reports confirmed that a fire had broken out on premises as firefighters arrived on the scene. The fire broke out in a wooden hut near the hotel, housing in the conference center, according to The Sun. Those in attendance said EMTs used specialized smoke divers shortly after the attendees noticed the scent to investigate potential hazards. Fox Business reported that the media was back inside the building within a little less than an hour after the fire crews had completed their inspection. So, the alarm has been fully contained and the fire has been completely extinguished after evacuating part of the convention center as a precaution. So it was a fire, folks. Not to discredit Nick and not to discredit what he's reporting. It's unclear what was in the air is a little misleading. Europe is unsafe. I mean, if we're going to talk about fires being unsafe, fires happen all the time. And yes, they're unsafe. However, this is, for lack of better terms, this is a very charged headline. A misleading headline by Nick Sorter. Love the guy, love the dude, but take a few minutes to do some investigation and understand before you just make a divisive headline. Davos Conference Center is evacuated after a fire breaks out and smell leaves guests coughing. So it was just a fire at the Davos event. Let's take a look and see if this actually will play. Probably not because of reasons. Don't know why. But yes, it was just a fire, folks. So, and to be fair, the ignition of a fire doesn't necessarily rule out the vaporization of noxious chemicals. It could just be a wooden fire, a small wooden fire, but it could also have been some sort of chemical, some sort of particulate, some sort of bio attack. We don't know, and I'm not leading into that, and I don't want to placate into that narrative. As it stands right now, the fire crews were there. The fire crew cleared and checked everything. The building was reopened for the attendees to return to it. They deemed it safe. So just forewarning, it was a fire, but they have since cleared it for other attendees to re-enter the building. With that being said, we are moving right along into the last headline before we do the premium, before we go uncensored, before we go unchained. Maybe that's what the premium section of Break the Chains Media will be. Break the Chains Media, the Unchained portion. I don't know. We're working on it, folks. Smash that thumbs up button. Be a part of it, folks. Come join the premium section here in just a few minutes. But regarding ICE shootings, regarding the happening that's going on with ICE, the ongoing debacle with ICE, and the buildup and the mounting chaos within the United States regarding the immigration and customs enforcement of our laws, of our border security, of our evacuation of illegal immigrants in this country. Federal agents involved in a shooting in Los Angeles County. Just a few hours ago, federal law enforcement agents were involved in a shooting in an unincorporated area of Los Angeles earlier Wednesday while conducting an immigration enforcement operation, according to the Department of Homeland Security. A DHS spokesperson told the Hill sister station News Nation in a statement that agents were conducting a targeted operation in Compton, California, around 7 this morning, local time, to arrest a violent criminal illegal alien from El Salvador. The agency identified the person as William Eduardo Moran Caballero and said his involvement was in a human smuggling operation. He had been arrested twice prior on domestic abuse-related charges and had been ordered to remove from the country in 2019. So this illegal immigrant, this individual, was here for almost 5 years after prior convictions. He remained in this country, and the Biden administration refused to deport him. Was not deported, was not found, and was not deported for 5 years. ICE found him and has since targeted him for extraction. In a dangerous attempt to evade arrest, this criminal illegal alien weaponized his vehicle and rammed into law enforcement. The statement continued, fearing for his life and safety, an agent fired defensive shots. The criminal alien was not hit and attempted to flee on foot. He was then successfully apprehended by law enforcement. The DHS said Caballero was not injured, but a U.S. Border Patrol agent was, without going into further detail. The L.A. County Sheriff Department confirmed to KTLA that it was aware of the incident in Willowbrook neighborhood, and when deputies were requested around 7:30 that morning to perform perimeter traffic control. So, folks, this is a reaffirming of the issue that happened with Renee Good, of the larger scale, that ICE involvement and ICE deportation operations are dangerous. They are not here to play around. They are not pretending. They are not mockeries. They are not security guards. They're not Paul Blart mall cops going in there to take down these dangerous criminals. They are targeting individuals who have evaded deportation and evaded arrests for a very long time, and ICE is going in there to extract and deport these illegal aliens from our country. And the Renee Goods of the world, these protesters who think it's all a game, sit here and they think that the ICE operations are just a racist guise or the militarized racist Gestapo coming in to take innocent Pablo and Maria Gonzalez that work in a bakery, that are just honest, innocent individuals here just making a living. No, they're coming in to get hardened criminals out of our country. Okay? Let's watch this video.
All right, so we are following this live for you right now out of Willowbrook, California. We have very few details so far, but what we do know
Look at the protests.
Is that there is a car chase that has occurred that led to a shooting involving a federal agent on the ground there. So obviously you're looking at some of the images that we got in screen right over the past few minutes. A screen left is the live shot provided to us from our affiliate KTTV on the ground there. Paul Morrow is joining us now as we await more details on this car chase that led to a shooting involving a federal agent. Paul, please jump in.
So obviously they're going to review this for the use of force, especially in the current context of the Renee Good shooting. It'll come down to a number of things. Why did the officer shoot? Was that person, that is the agent, presented with deadly force? Was it an accidental firing? Did the person drive the car at him? Was there shots fired at the agent? These are all sort of the logical things that you would look at. One of the nuances is going to be what the pursuit protocols are for federal government. The local police these days almost all have protocols for when and how you can pursue. It strikes people a lot of times as counterintuitive, but the police actually won't pursue in a vehicle misdemeanor crimes, things like that, because they don't want to endanger the public for something that they feel is not that important and that we can get the person on later. So that would be something I'm sure they're going to look at. Who was the perp? Why was there a chase in a populated area? Obviously, we don't know much. We just have to, as we always say, of the first 100 reports, 99 are going to be erroneous. That's just because everybody is scrambling right now to figure out what happened.
Okay, so a little bit more information, and I just want to reiterate: the suspect was not hit, but the agent was hurt. This is according to high-level DHS sources at this moment, according to the details that we do have. But according to the LA authorities there and multiple sources, the call came in at 7:20 a.m. local time there. The shooting took place involving a DHS agent task force. They were conducting an operation in the Willowbrook-Compton area of South LA. The suspect fled from the target location in a vehicle. The short vehicle pursuit ensued. Then the suspect's vehicle crashed into a parked car near the 2400 block of 126th Street. Very local details are coming in. An incident occurred immediately following the termination of the pursuit that led to a federal officer firing his or her weapon. Right. No person was hit by gunfire. All federal agents accounted for. All suspects have been detained. A little bit more information.
Yeah, I mean, look, everybody's mind is, of course, going to the immigration situation, but there's a very good chance this has nothing to do with immigration. DHS has an operational arm known as HSI, Homeland Security Investigations. They work in task forces. They work with the marshals. There's a very good chance this was a fugitive apprehension, or they had an arrest warrant on somebody. Could be gang-related, could be drugs, could be anything. The fact that it happened so early in the morning argues to me you do operations very early in the morning when you're going to boom a door. You have a suspect identified, you want to get in there, execute a search warrant. So that suggests maybe they were running an operation on a location that they knew was dirty.
All right, I'm done with this guy. But yes, so obviously we just did a review on it. No one was hurt, no one was harmed. The gunfire did go off. No one was injured ironically, outside of the ICE officer, the federal officer who was involved. He got hit by a car. Okay. Suspect has now been detained. Okay, but this is the actual larger thing here. I wanted to speak on this because this ties in a larger narrative between Minnesota, between sanctuary cities, between what is happening in our country and the bifurcation and the total disregard of federal law in these sanctuary cities and these sanctuary states. They are doubling down on their anti-ICE position. Right? Talking about Renee Good, blah, blah, blah. Incident sparked national outrage, prompting protests across the country over the Trump administration's immigration enforcement tactics. Senior administration officials have defended the shooting and blamed sanctuary city policies of Democrat-led cities for inflaming tensions and impeding lawful efforts. That is quintessentially boiled down the crux of the problem. The fact that these states and these cities are allowing this behavior of illegal immigration and harboring illegal criminals to fester. That is the problem, folks. These dangerous attempts to evade arrest have surged since sanctuary politicians, including California Governor Newsom, and have encouraged illegal aliens to evade arrest, provided guides advising illegal aliens how to recognize ICE, block entry, and defy arrest. DHS continued in its statement, citing 3,200% increase in vehicle attacks since the Renee Good incident. Folks, where's the off-ramp? What time is it, folks? What time are we witnessing in this modern era, in this modern day? What are the issues that are at hand right now? We are seeing a bifurcation within our own country. We're seeing a fracturing of policies and a defiance of federal law. There needs to be a crackdown. There needs to be a comeuppance. There needs to be a show of force. Arguably, is it the Insurrection Act? I don't know if that's the solution, but at this point, I don't know where else we go from here, because things aren't going to de-escalate just by talking about this. The time of conversation was over, and unfortunately, the only person that was there to have conversation was Charlie Kirk, and he was assassinated by a left-wing psychopath. The time of conversation has come and gone. We are way beyond conversation. We are way beyond strategy and policy. We have to enact and use the full force of the law that is currently written. We don't even need to add new laws to this. We are sitting here. We are at a fracturing moment. We are at a divide in our nation. Do we have illegal immigrants just continuing to abuse our system and take advantage of the policies that these left-leaning cities and states offer them? The fraud and abuse and corruption at every level. Do we continue to let that happen? No. Absolutely not. I refuse that policy. I refuse that position. Okay? Yeah, that is. I have a couple other things I wanted to get into in the Unchained portion. In the Unchained portion of our live stream, I do believe we are going to be wrapping up this part of Break the Chains Media's live stream here. If you are on if you are on YouTube or if you are on X, I highly encourage you to jump over to Rumble. Be a part of that premium. Be a part of Rumble Premium. Jump over here because we are going to be jumping into the Unchained portion of this live stream on Rumble exclusive. So you got to be a part of Rumble exclusive to be a part of this uncensored danger zone. Here it comes, the danger zone. But folks, without further ado, I do appreciate y'all being here. Thank you so much for hanging out with Break the Chains Media. And for all of you on Rumble, I will see you shortly.